Yeah. All right. All right, guys. So, welcome to the Silat Fan TV's our second podcast so far. Sorry, guys, we haven't done any more, but we're trying to get them in as quick as possible. But we've decided to do a podcast ahead of the Belgium Open Championship happening next weekend. And as you know, it's an annual championship. It happens usually in May, early May. This time it's slightly earlier because it's Ramadan coming up, and a lot of the countries are going to begin fasting. So this time it's in late April. I'm here with my good friend Samir Ghanim.
Hello.
How's it going, bro? You
How's
right?
it going?
Yeah?
Good. Yeah.
All
How
good?
you doing?
All good,
Yeah,
yeah.
man. Thank you.
Wicked. So yeah, we thought it'd be pretty cool to talk about Belgium Open. For those of you that haven't been to the tournament before, it's Europeans' biggest Pencak Silat tournament, where we have teams from Southeast Asia attending, teams from Europe attending. It's a tournament that both myself and Samir have gone to for several years, where we've competed since. My first tournament was at the Belgium Open in 2003 when I first competed in the tandem category. Samir, when was your?
I think my first tournament was 2008, 2009. So a few years after Sean's a veteran.
Yeah.
A few years after Sean.
And I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I've always thought that the championship was always very well organized. It was always consistent. Without fail, we knew we could rely on a Belgium Open every year. The same time of year, and there was always a high turnout from both Asian countries and European countries, and it was a great way to get experience.
Yeah, for sure. I think Belgium's always been a tournament that you could sort of set in your diary and you can aim towards. You can plan. You can have a proper camp beforehand. It's going to be happening. And for the Europeans, it was always, for a lot of us, it's an introduction into Silat. So maybe there's not a lot of competitions going on in your home country. So it was for a lot of fighters from the UK, for example, it was their first tournament. So it's a good mix of level for the Asians. They seem to use it sometimes as a stepping stone to either blood people in or to get big tournament match ready. It's a good turnout, Belgium.
It is, and living in London and with the tournament only being a 2-hour train ride away, it made it really convenient for us to always attend. It's not we're not flying across to Asia. It's not like a world championship where you have to fork out a lot of money for plane tickets and accommodation. We could it was very convenient for European teams.
It's definitely one of the cheaper trips to do compared to going to Asia. It's also, I guess, a little road trip at times between sort of the team. It's a good bonding opportunity as well. We usually maybe drive over it's good fun.
And it's fair to say, as an athlete, we've gained a lot of experience at the Belgium Open. I think my fondest memories in the competitive world are at the Belgium Open. We've managed to win there quite a few times.
Yeah.
What's your fondest memory of the Belgium Open?
I'm going to put you on the spot because my fondest memory actually involves Sean, and it was a tournament that we both. You probably know the date once I say it, but it was a tournament that we both did, I guess, well in. We both won golds. And usually at the end of a tournament,
2011.
Was it 2011? You know what's coming. At the end of the tournament, they announced the best fighter, and it's usually an Asian, just because they're the best fighters. And we were standing waiting for the announcement, and I was like, and I turned to Sean, and I said, would it be cool if one of us got it? Because we'd both done well, and then 10 seconds later they announced the winner, and it was Sean, and it was just a good classic old moment.
And that I recall that tournament very well because we both did well, and we both, I think we had a really solid training camp before that tournament,
Yeah.
where we trained maybe 12 weeks in advance. We had, we all had tough fighters in our categories.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't a one-win
No, it
sort
wasn't.
of
Yeah,
get
exactly.
to the finals. It was a couple of two, three fights each.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, that's one of
And
my
I remember feeling really relaxed in that tournament, and I think part of performing well in a tournament is just being completely at ease, coming to a championship, not being stressed, and everything seemed to go perfectly well.
Yeah, no,
good shout.
it was a great tournament.
Okay, so we're here to talk about next week's Belgium Open 2019. Looking forward to it. So I'm just going to go through. So guys, for those of you that are listening at home, Silat Fan TV, we've managed to get the list of registered countries that are attending the tournament. The Belgian Federation kindly sent us the list.
So we're going to go through some of the categories.
We're going to go through
the countries.
we'll go through some of the categories and countries. And so before we go through the fighters, we'll speak about some of the countries that are attending. And I've got the list here, and I'm going to read it out to everyone. So we've got in no particular order. It's quite a good turnout this year. We've got Egypt, Holland, Austria, Philippines. They don't usually attend.
No, they don't.
So
and neither do Egypt. So some new countries.
that's right. Yeah. We've got interesting one. We've got a Team Jakarta attending. So it's not the national Indonesian team, but it's a state Jakarta team. Interesting.
Yeah.
We've got a Thailand A team and a Thailand B team. Again, that's quite a new thing.
Yeah.
Normally, Thailand just send their national athletes, but it seems that we're having two separate teams here. We've got the Indonesian A team, and they're bringing strong, credible fighters that we'll go into in a minute. We've got an Indonesia B team. They're only sending 2 fighters, so that's, I guess, three separate Indonesian teams.
Okay.
We've got the Malaysian national team attending.
Always there, the Malaysians.
Always there,
Yeah.
and the usual faces. France are sending a small team also. Singapore will be there. We have several clubs from Holland. Always a good turnout from the Netherlands. Belgium obviously will be there. UK are representing with 8 fighters. And Germany. And that's it. So quite a strong list of countries.
Yeah, mix. Mix. Like I said earlier, I think it's the Asian countries are starting to give the Belgian tournament and competition a lot more respect. So as well as sending their A teams, they are now using it as a platform as well to blood newcomers as well. So yeah, the traditionally the more Asian countries, the more Asian fighters there, benefits the whole tournament and makes it just a better experience for everyone. Yeah.
And I think what the EPSF have done really well, the European Federation, is they've managed to bring a lot of juries from Singapore, from Indonesia, and come in and act as referees, wasits for the fights, which is really needed because there's not as many perhaps qualified wasits in Europe. And that experience is vital for the running of a championship.
Yeah, so I think in terms of the level of refereeing, you always want it to be the best it can be. So that's good for the fighters themselves. But then also, as you say, for the scene in Europe, not having a lot of maybe experienced jury members, it's an opportunity for them to learn and to engage and pick up experience from their colleagues. And
that's not to say that there isn't experienced wasits in Europe, because there are a few that I can think of. It's just that there's perhaps not as many. Yeah, definitely. I think that the tournaments are happening a lot more often in Asia, where they gain that experience. Naturally, in Europe, we don't have as many tournaments, so yeah, they don't have as much opportunity to gain that experience. Yeah. So now let's we've obviously had a look through this list beforehand, and we've highlighted a few interesting fighters that potentially. Or let's say interesting matchups that might occur depending on on the draw.
Yeah. So of course, everything we talk about is not set. We don't know the draw.
It's all down to the draw, isn't it?
It's not been done.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
and actually, before we speak about the moments before draw, how is that moment? How do you feel during knowing that the draw is happening? Did that affect you as a fighter?
So I think interesting. It's Silat's a sport where you don't know who you're going to fight. So you go to a tournament, sort of just training to be the best that you can be.
Not like boxing where you're going to fight
exactly.
a
So you can't sort of learn your opponents, their weaknesses or their strengths. A lot of the time, the fighters are changing from tournament to tournament. So even if you fought someone before, you don't know that they're going to be the fighter again. So what you find before a tournament, in the moments before, and say that the evening everyone arrives until the next day when they have the draws, there's a lot of eyeing up between fighters, people trying to see in the other big group of people from another country who's their sort of size, and that might be the guy I'm fighting. So I guess some people not too bothered by it all, don't pay attention to it all. Some people get the adrenaline starts to come then, and then you're waiting on the day to find out who your opponent is, and that's done in the morning by the sort of coaches and managers, and then each team will have their own little break off and have their own team talks, and that's when you get to find out. So it's an exciting time to find out who.
It's nerve-wracking, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. There's definitely nerves there.
I particularly never liked it really. I didn't like the whole getting weighed and finding out. Well, do you remember? Actually, I had a theory. Even if the draw was done, I'd ask the coach not to tell me who I'd be drawn against, because sometimes when it comes down to it, sometimes it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you're drawn against.
I remember there was a period where you did want to not know who you were fighting to see if that would sort of how you'd react differently to going towards the fight, because traditionally, obviously, when you get your draw and you get drawn against someone from one of the Asian countries, because we sort of look up to them in terms of their experience and skill, that can bring on a lot of nerves, rather than if you get drawn against another European country where you think, okay, I've got a chance, good chance, good opening fight. If you get drawn against an Indonesia or Malaysia, Vietnam straight away, it can put a bit of sort of oh no, what am I going to do sort of feeling. So for me, I definitely like to know who I'm fighting. I think it's sort of for me rest the mind a bit. You know who you're fighting. Not that it makes any real difference, because you can't change anything. You're not going to you don't have time enough to sort of learn new techniques, go and practice something. Like I said, that's all been done before. But it's sort of the real sort of start to the tournament. You know who you're going to fight. I think that's why for me it's an important moment. I was very I need to find out who I'm fighting. I'd be going up to my coaches asking them rather than them before they've even come over to me, because for me that is sort of the start of the tournament basically.
And just to let you know, guys, the draw for the Belgium Open will take place on the Friday evening, once everyone's registered throughout the day. The draw, the technical meeting and the draw will happen Friday afternoon on the 26th of April. And once the draw's out, we'll make sure that once all the matchups have been done and the fight schedule's out, we'll be posting those on our Instagram channel, Facebook account. So make sure you follow us and stay tuned and follow those updates. But anyway, going back to the fighters that are attending, and we're going to focus on the big names, the big stars, the ones that everyone's waiting to watch. And we'll start, I guess, at Class B. So interesting. We've got Abdul Malik, who is the Class B Indonesian who won gold at the Asian Games.
So usually
he'll be attending.
So who will he potentially?
So
Malaysia.
He'll have Malaysia, Faisal. They always end up sort of in the finals. Those two. Great little battle between really two explosive athletes. Abdul Malik always using that very sharp defensive side kick. And I think it will be an interesting category. Obviously, Category B is the category I used to fight in. I'm going to really pay close attention to that category. But to make that category more interesting, is we have, I believe his name is, I think, Hazim, who just won the World Championships in Singapore in Class B, beating Faisal in the finals.
Yeah. Exciting newcomer, huh?
Exciting newcomer, really tall, slim, so he's got great reach for a Class B. Speed. So it's going to be an interesting, and he was really young as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he turns up to sort of one of the next tournaments, now being the world champion, and how that's going to sort of change his style maybe, and give him what confidence that's given him. He's not coming as the challenger so much, right? He's coming as the champion. The other guys who have been champions are going to have to step up to his level now.
Yep. And I'm just going to make sure that is his name, just I don't want to... yeah, here we go. Class B. Yes, it is Hazim. Yeah, so it is Hazim. Okay, so that's Class B. Next in line, Class D. Now, interestingly enough, you may have noticed we have skipped Class C. And we would usually expect our boy, Hanifan.
Yeah.
And we've noticed that he's moved up to Class D. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's really interesting, because fighters they're not moving up and down quite a lot in over the last few years. So so yeah, it'd be interesting to see why has he just reached sort of the top of his game in Class C and is looking for a new challenge. Has he been maybe training, not training as much, and sort of it would have been easier to make weight necessarily for Class D. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see why he's done that. Maybe if we get a word with him, we'll find that out for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I find it interesting. You know, he won gold at the Asian Games in August last year. Huge tournament.
He wasn't at World Champs.
And you know, he took a break. They took a break after the World Champs. So it will be interesting to see how he comes back. You know, will he be as sharp? Will he be as hungry? Will he be as motivated? Obviously, you know, last year he was, you know, it was clear to see he was peaking. You know, what a great athlete. You know, I think one of his strongest assets were his front kicks and his push kicks. But a complete sort of attacking, defensive fighter. And it will be really interesting to see how he does. You know, and such a charismatic fighter as well in the ring. You know, with his Lanka and. You know, I expect good things, but it will be interesting to see. Well, I mean, you know, staying in that category, and I don't know if you remember, Adelian Chemang from Thailand, who again, so who used to be in Class C also, and has moved up to Class D. He was at the World Championships, but he gave Hanifan an amazing semi-final in the Asian Games. Really strong Thai fighter. I think his background in Muay Thai, and then he changed to Silat. You know, amazing power. Really, you know, he's got his endurance and stamina is amazing. You know, he goes all the way to the end, and he gave Hanifan a really good fight in the Asian Games. So I think if the draw is right, and if they end up facing each other, that will be a really interesting fight.
Yeah, definitely. Look forward to it.
Yeah. All right. Now we're moving into Class E, and you know, I'll let you lead this one. We have.
So Class E, we have as every year for the last good few years, we have Jufri from Malaysia. One of all of our favorite fighters. And I don't believe we have Komang this year.
No Komang. So Komang has taken a break after the World Champs, so he hasn't registered for the Belgium Open.
So yeah, we always love watching those two fight over the last few big tournaments, as happened in Singapore in the World Champs. But I believe there's a good replacement stepping up in Komang's place.
That's right. So Iqbal Chandra. From Indonesia, who usually fights in Class D, has stepped up and is fighting in Class E. and will potentially match up. You know, that would be a great semi-final or final, depending on how the draw goes, obviously.
Yeah. I think the one of the first times we saw Iqbal was in Belgium, actually, just a newbie. We'd never seen him before, and he had a great fight with Jeffrey at a time when no one was really troubling Jeffrey at all. This was before sort of Kaman came on into that category. And then they swapped around with categories, and he never hasn't fought him since. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the matchup.
Really looking forward to that one. And then I think the last sort of category that we want to highlight is Class J.
Yeah, Class J. So we thought we'd sort of I'm from the bigger categories, so I thought we couldn't just leave it with all the smaller categories. So Class J has a good UK fighter. His name is Jibril. He got a bronze in the World Champs in Singapore. And he won Belgium last year, 2018, in the Class Open.
Oh, Class Open.
But this year he will be fighting Class J. And yeah, one of the standout fighters in Class J for the last couple of years has been Jordi from the Netherlands, from Bongkot Harimau. And last year he had which is probably one of the best fights at the tournament, which was him and Sheikh. From Singapore. Yeah. I don't think Sheikh's coming.
He's not on the list. I think he's on national service in Singapore.
Okay, so that's a shame we won't get to see that rematch. But yeah, potentially a fight will be there with Jibril and with Jordi, and I'm really looking forward to that fight. That should be the big guys, heavy blows, power, and yeah, I think there's maybe a fighter from Thailand also, but maybe someone we've not seen before. So it'll be interesting to see what level he's fighting at. I mean that's always been an exciting category to look at. And so we've highlighted a few some great fighters and great classes to watch out for. And obviously, guys, make sure you stay tuned next week. Make sure you switch on to our YouTube channel. We will be letting you guys know in advance when these fights are happening. So look out for our Instagram stories on Instagram, Facebook, and so on and so forth. We'll give you guys a heads up so you don't miss it. All right. So is there anything else we want to talk about? The Belgium Open. Have we covered everything? So actually, just before we do that, for you guys that are subscribing or that will be tuning in next weekend, the schedule will be going live from Friday the 26th of April from around 8 p.m, which is when the opening ceremony will start. And then for the first time in Belgium Open, we'll also be doing there will also be the semi competitions. So teams have also sent athletes during. Shout out to Muna from the UK.
Shout out to Muna for the UK.
And Ginty. Who are both going to be representing the UK in the Seni. Looking forward to that.
Doing Tunga, right?
Yeah.
That's right. So there'll be the Tongao categories, which is the solo artistic form. The Regu, which is the 3-person team, doing a choreographed 3-person form. And the Ganda, which is the choreographed fight, including 2 people with weapons. So really looking forward to see those, and that will be straight after the opening ceremony on the Friday. And then on the Saturday, on the 27th, fights are going to start at 10 a.m. So it's going to be an early start, guys. We'll be there streaming from 10 a.m. all the way up until hopefully around
9,
I'd say maybe around latest 9 p.m. We'll be working hard streaming all those fights. We'll be streaming, but there'll be 2 mats at Belgium Open, and you'll be able to choose from which mat you wanna watch fights with, and both streams will be streamed simultaneously. And then once all the preliminary rounds are done, quarterfinals, semi-finals on the Saturday, we move into the finals on the Sunday, and those will be starting again, I think, at around 10 a.m. in the morning, and and running all the way up to 2 p.m. On the Sunday, and then at which point the award ceremony will happen. Yeah, so really excited, guys. Make sure you guys tune in. Make sure you subscribe. Obviously, we'll be letting you know in advance when we go live. Samir, any last words?
No, not really. Just looking forward to it. Yeah, with Belgium. So yeah, now we're involved in other things, not just fighting anymore. But we still love going to Belgium, seeing old friends, seeing new fighters turn up on the scene. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Speaking of fighters, when are you going to start fighting again?
Hey, put me on it. Put me on the spot. Hopefully soon. Yeah, I should have been really back already for this tournament, but I didn't really get the real times. Needs a lot of time. It needs a lot of evenings of training. And yeah, maybe, I don't know, Europeans, Malaysia has been announced as the 2020 World Champs.
World Champs.
So yeah, that's definitely something I'm going to be targeting, I think. So I've still got a couple of years in me. So yeah, I hope to be fighting again.
Well, just just from a fellow friend, we really hope we see you in the ring again.
Thank you.
You've won so many gold medals across the years, and I think you need to go back in there for one more. I think so as well. All right. I don't know about you, but is it time for a kebab?
Yeah, dinner time.
Is it dinner time? All right, bro. Let's go.
Cool.
Nice one.
Take it easy.